in the mix at
Yeah.
the end of the
All
year.
right, guys. Y'all hold off that conversation just 1 second because we are starting Extra Point with Phil Jones. Welcome back.
All right, guys, welcome back. Indeed, it is it's another week, but it's just not another regular Monday, or not just another regular week. Oh no, this is the official start of the 2025 Georgia high school football season, and we are absolutely stoked. Even though all of us here at ITG Next, we cover it year round. This is when things begin in earnest. This is when you can throw aside the scrimmages, the OTAs, whatever, it counts from this point forward. Welcome in, everybody. This is Extra Point with Phil Jones. And of course, as you can see, I've got company today. It is Mark Dykes, the CEO of ITG Next, joining me. Mark, thanks so much again for being here.
Well, it's good to be here, Phil. As you mentioned, great Monday because, hey, we got a ball game in, Thursday, and a big one at that. So special week. We've all been waiting for it. Of course, we wait for this time of the year all year long for us football fans, and hey, we'll be riding the momentum and all the fun, right through December in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I tell you, and I know we may say this, a lot. I can remember saying this last year, but Mark, I'll say it again. I just don't think, at least I can't remember there being as much excitement and anticipation looking forward to the start of a high school football season as what we have had. And I guess because there's been so much talk in the off season, so many things going on. Of course, a big part of what we're going to talk about, I think, has led to the anticipation of this season. Of course, that's the great, big, nice stadium that Buford has been working on the last couple of years. It's going to make its debut Thursday night. You're going to be representing ITG Next there on Thursday. So I think that's a big part of what has led to the anticipation of this season.
Well, now high school football, it just gets bigger and bigger.
It does.
Just when you think, well, can it keep going? Look at the facilities being built, all the indoor facilities, all the time the coaches and players dedicate. I mean, it's year round to these top programs. To be successful, you got to work at it year round, and they do that. And of course, we know we're out talking to them and see all that goes into it. And trust me, the state championship it's won prior to August. We get to see that product August through December, but there's a lot of work that's gone into it. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Who knows? I mean, NIL's there. It's not going away. It just keeps going. So certainly a lot of anticipation. And look, I don't know. We've been doing this 18 years, and I think this will be the best year. I think there's so much talent. I mean, high school football in Georgia is at a great time right now.
It really is. And, Mark, I think if you look at just a small sample, a small sampling of what we do, this past year we covered high school football on a year-round basis. I know we've always done the show pretty much year-round, meaning Extra Point, but we really dedicated a lot of talk to the high school football upcoming season. And Mark, we really didn't have to dig or struggle for content. There was always something to talk about.
Well, you're right. Again, with all the facilities being built and everything going on, and coaches moving around and making changes. And listen, we're dedicated. We cover all sports. You'll see content across all sports from us. But no question, football drives the train, and it does at every level. It does in college. It does in pro. You look at every other national outlet, they're leading with NFL college stories year round. I mean, that's just the way it is. But football makes a way for all these other sports to exist.
That's right. That's exactly right. So I do think the popularity, even as popular as high school football has been for so long, I think, as Mark alluded to earlier, I think the popularity of high school football has never been at a higher pitch, has never been at a higher level than what it is. And I think we're going to start seeing that with the first game kicking off Thursday. And I tell you, we're going to start right there. By the way, you guys that are watching the show, no matter if you're watching on Facebook, on X/Twitter, or on YouTube, let us know where you're checking out the show from. Let us know what game you're going to be at this weekend. And hey, let us know what you want to talk about. You guys know the drill. I'll be looking over, Mark will be looking over at the comments. We will involve you guys as much as possible throughout the entire show. So that being said, Mark, let's start off talking about the big one. It is going to be the debut of the brand new stadium there at Buford. We're going to be there. You're going to be there. And let's start right there talking about Buford hosting Milton.
Yeah. First thing I would like to add, I want to encourage everyone to send us some pictures or video of your tailgate, wherever you may be.
Yep.
Whether it's at Buford for the Milton and Buford game, or another big game on Friday, Grayson at Collins Hill. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Make sure to send us your photos, video of your tailgate. You could be the winner of our Sunset Farm Tailgate of the Week. We'd like to recognize you. Also, send you a gift pack of sausage for your next tailgate. So I will say this. You will have plenty of room to tailgate at the Buford Stadium. In addition to being a nice, big, beautiful stadium, there's plenty of parking. They checked every box. I was there last week or week before last, had an opportunity to tour the stadium and then sit down for a one-on-one with Tony Wolf. The first thing I'll say about the folks at Buford, they're first class. They treat everyone very good. They want everyone to have a good experience there. I do want to mention, and I know I say this a lot, Phil, when you and I are talking, it's really a unique situation in Buford in that the city and the school system are all the same. The leadership is the same, and that stadium is actually owned by the city. Of course, the school will be using it, but the city will use it for other activities. But it's just it's a very nice facility. They didn't leave any stone unturned with all the details. I mean, the cheerleaders, they have a locker room in there. Of course, the visitors' locker room is very nice. The visitors also have the coaches, the visiting team. They have very nice area up top. They give them 2 suites up there to, for their coaches. There's also press up there for the visiting team. So it's going to be a special night, no question. It'd be a great way to open that stadium. And I'm sure that place will be rocking. I mean, the buildup is just there. And why not? Let's forget about the stadium for a minute. Let's just get down to football. I mean, you talking 2 of the best programs in the country when you look at it. I don't know that, Milton coming off 2 consecutive state championships, looking for a three-peat. And I heard you today talking to Jeremy Edwards at Houston County, and last year they lost to Milton. Said Milton probably could have beat Valdosta State, which there may be some truth to that. Let's be real. That was a generational team, but Ben Reeves will certainly. They'll come in with a chip on their shoulder. I think they view it as, hey, nobody gives us a chance because we lost all those leaders and that kind of thing. It's hard for me to figure out how he can spin it to, hey, we're the underdog. Nobody's liking us. Well, come on. You're not going to sneak up on anybody. In Buford, we know every year they're very competitive. So a lot of athletes on the field, man. It's going to be great. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Mark and Flint Dyke's going to be there in attendance, going to be getting, I'm sure, some great shots from up there, and looking forward to that one and hearing the report from Buford. We're going to talk a lot about the Buford Milton game, but we also, as we move forward, going to talk about some other big time openers. Man, there's a lot of great football to kick off the season. Of course, a part of the opening week, as it customarily is in Georgia, involves the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic. IJ Rosenberg has done a good job putting that showcase event together. This year, going to be no different. Going to include the aforementioned Mark Houston County Bears of Jeremy Edwards. They're taking on Brookwood. That's going to be a matinee affair Saturday afternoon at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's going to be a good one. And again, that's just one of many games that are going to serve as the kickoff to the 2025 season. Also, we're going to talk about Benedictine and Colquitt County, Mark. That's going to be at the Hog Pen. That's going to be the first meeting of these two teams, at least in their current incarnation, as the Colquitt County Packers and Benedictine. I think the two programs met years and years, decades ago, when it was the Moultrie Packers. But anyway, this is going to be the first meeting of these two programs as they stand, and this is going to be a good one. We're going to talk about that as we move forward. Also, going to be talking about our Pick Six. It's the 6 games that I do every week during the season. We're going to talk about those. You can look forward to those Pick Six games, those 6 games that yours truly picks and picks the winners. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you don't. Not going to hurt my feelings. We'd rather hear from you either way than you not communicate with us. So before we do that, let's find out who all is in the house today, Mark. I don't know if you got the folks in front of you, but I want to say hello to Tony Wynn, who is checking out the show from Jackson, Alabama. He is a Thomas County Central fan, as is Heather Knight Rodriguez checking out the show. Mar Shields says, you guys waiting for the show like kids waiting for cartoons. Yeah, we're excited. No doubt about that. Waylon Polk is checking out the show from St. Louis, Missouri. By the way, what's up, Waylon? So, Mark, here's our first prediction. Jason Green likes Benedictine 31-24 over Colquitt County. Don't know about that. Obadiah Farley, of course, Thomas County Central's #1 fan, is checking out the show. What's up, Obadiah? Great to see you as always. Evan Reese, Roswell's #1 fan. Evan, I hope you get a chance to check out our coaches show with JT Jonathan Thompson. Talked to him today, and that's another new feature, guys. We want to bring to y'all's attention. We've got our slate of coaches shows like we do every year. Some new faces, some new names this year, Mark, that we're talking to. You mentioned Jeremy Edwards earlier, Houston County. Also going to be talking this year to Tift County's Jeff Littleton. Also going to be talking to, as I mentioned, JT Thompson from Roswell, the head coach. We've got Kareem Reed, the head coach of McEachern. We've got Jeff Hammond from Worth County, Sean Calhoun from Colquitt County, and who did I leave out? Did I get everybody there?
I think you got them all.
Okay. So anyway, looking forward to that. All the coaches that we're talking to. So Evan Reese, your coach, you'll be able to see that probably either tomorrow or Wednesday. Also, speaking of Buford, Big Buford, it's our guy checking in. Where you at? I know he's in here. There he is. Luke Nelson, Big Buford, checking in. Jeffrey Rowland, Warner Robins Demon. So we got folks all over the state watching the show. So we'll get back to more of you guys and find out who's all watching the show today. Mark, let's start with, again, Buford, Milton. We talked about the stadium. Let's talk about the X's and O's. Let's talk about the people. I think there's so many great storylines about this game, Mark. In addition to the stadium, we'll put that aside for right now. So this is the first game, I think, in 4 years that Milton's going to take the field, the first season opener, Mark, in 4 years, that Milton will take the field without Luke Nickel under center. And I think that right there, the fact that he's not in the game at quarterback anymore for Milton, and the fact that you also have as his replacement a very talented yet inexperienced Derek Baker, who played sparingly in his career at St. Thomas Aquinas, Mark. He saw action in 16 games, but not necessarily as a starter. In fact, last year he was not the starter. So I'm kind of curious to see how Derek Baker does. Previously, a pretty much lifetime part-time player, a good one. Don't get me wrong. He's got D1 offers from all over the place. But, Mark, let's talk about the quarterback situation. How do you see that shaping up?
Well, I think as you mentioned, it's hard to replace Luke Nickel. I had a chance to, I've met him several times, interviewed him. He's a fantastic quarterback. He was the heart and soul of main cog in that Milton team. I think it'll be very difficult to replace him. Again, Ben Reeves does an outstanding job. He runs his program like a college program. He has great coaches around him. So I don't expect there to be a big letdown in Milton. I think Milton's going to be standing toward the end. That said, I think it's going to be hard to beat Buford on Thursday night. I really do, just because of the new additions and what it looks like for Milton. I think it's going to be difficult. I mean, I'm giving Buford the edge, but look, this is a non-region game for both of them.
Right.
A great game for us fans. I applaud both of them for playing this game. You know, they don't shy away either of these programs. You know, they're not playing a game just to get a win and run over an opponent. Great game for us fans. But whoever loses, everything's still in front of them. We have to keep in mind it is high school football. You know, these are kids out there, even though, boy, it's hard to think that all the time with the way NIL is and as big as the game is. I think it'll be hard to replace Luke Nickel. In fact, Phil, I think that may be the difference in the game. The young man that'll be starting for Milton, I don't know a lot about him, certainly not taking anything away from him. He sounds like an outstanding athlete. I'm sure he'll find his footing, and he may have a great game.
Yeah, and Mark, I'm right there with you. And look, I want to make sure everybody understands what I said about Derek Baker. You know, even though he may not necessarily, have the experience, I can promise you that Coach Ben Reeves has had a chance to look at him this entire off season, and I guarantee you that he's not going to be going with Derek Baker if he didn't feel comfortable. You know what I mean? So I'm sure he's not going to put Derek Baker out there unless he feels like he just doesn't have any other alternative, and that's just not the case. So my point being, Derek, we may not know a whole lot about Derek Baker. Ben Reeves certainly does. You know, the buck stops with him. So if he didn't feel good about it, we wouldn't see Derek Baker. That's my feelings on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Certainly, I don't think we know how competitive Ben Reeves is. So, he's certainly coming in there to win. I believe he's playing the person that he feels gives him the best chance to win. Again, I think it's going to be a great game. I think, give them a quarter to everybody to kind of feel the game out. I'm looking for a big night, a fun night for us fans.
All right, I think we may have lost the signal. I think temporarily, but I think we're back up. You guys give us some feedback on that. Let us know. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know if we are back up and rolling. And we apologize for the issues there. All right. I think, Mark, we kind of feel the same way. But I do think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. See how Derek Baker handles the big lights. Because that, without a doubt, is going to be the biggest stage that young man has been on. Even though he comes from a big-time program, St. Thomas Aquinas, that's used to big-time stages, Mark. We know that. But it's going to be interesting to see exactly how he handles it. Now, on the other side, Mark, you've got Buford. I'll say this, and there hadn't been a lot talked about this. Buford does return its starting quarterback in Dayton Riola. Of course, we all know his brother's at Nebraska. Dayton's going to be going to Nebraska. Luke Nelson, you Buford fans out there, give me some feedback on this. Buford lost a lot. I mean, a lot. And I know that there is talent up and down the roster at Buford. But man, I'm telling you, they lost a lot. They lost their top rusher, their top receiver. They do have Ty Boogie Green coming back, who is quite a player. He was our top athlete as we rank all the positions this off season rather. And Ty Boogie Green will be able to fill a lot of holes for Buford. But both these teams, Mark, they're going to be strong, but much different looking team personnel wise than the teams that we saw in their respective seasons last year.
Well, you've got to play with the kids you have. So sure, the teams may look a little different. The game plan will switch some. But look, both these teams have great talent. It's going to be a great night. I think it'll be a close game. I don't see it getting out of hand either way. Of course, anything could happen, but I think it's going to be a great game, close game. Again, I got to give a little bit of an edge to Buford, but would not be surprised at all if Milton doesn't win. And I noticed a comment from Stephen Wynn, the kid coming from St. Thomas Aquinas. 100% Roger Harriet is a first-class guy at St. Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and Twan, the AD, man, great people. Rest assured, he got great experience there, and no questions, he had great coaching there and great mentors there.
Yeah, and those are all excellent points that you make, Mark. And those are the things that we cannot lose sight of. Again, he came from a great program. He's now at a great program, great head coaches, gets the best training available. So, look, are we overstating maybe some of the negatives or perceived negatives? Probably so. But again, that's what we do, and that's what it's worth talking about here on Extra Point. All right, so I do want to mention real quick, Luke Nelson, who I asked for some feedback. Luke goes by Big Buford, big-time fan. And he's a great friend of the show. Luke Nelson says, Mark, we just reloaded. So I think that's kind of the way that most of the folks feel.
Hey, I agree. They reloaded. And I tell you, when you get to the stadium, they got this big statue of a wolf out front, and it is very impressive. I mean, it is big, and you got this athlete with a nickname Boogie. I mean, come on. Watch out. I mean, you got that
Mark,
wolf statue, and I mean.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you. So, Mark, you talked earlier, and I'm going to throw in a little plug here about our friends at Sunset Farms.
Sunset Farm Foods, yeah.
Yep.
There's got to be some tailgaters.
Yeah, go ahead and explain that what we're doing, Mark. And let's tie that in with what's going to be going on outside the stadium Thursday.
Yeah, definitely make sure to send us some photos and video of your tailgate. Hey, we're going to recognize what we feel is the best video or photo. Recognize it as our ITG Next Tailgate of the Week, presented by Sunset Farm Foods. Look, I know there's going to be some of that going on, so don't forget to send us your photos and video. We want to have a lot of fun with that this year. Of course, I believe the folks over in your buddies over there in Coffeyfield said they were going to win that every week.
Well, let me tell you, we ranked the top 10 tailgaters or tailgate schools a couple of weeks ago, and Coffee was right near the top along with Lowndes. Buford, of course, was in there. So, again, I just want to give a shout out to our friends, Big Buford, Luke, Jaden Perlotte's dad, Kenny, all you Buford tailgaters. I know y'all are going to be well represented. In fact, Luke, tell us what is on the tailgate menu for Thursday. What time you guys going to get started out there on Thursday? It's going to be a big time, a big atmosphere. And I'll say this and we'll move on, Mark. That Buford Milton game, it's the only game in town necessarily on a Thursday night. Going to be on national TV. That might be the biggest game in America this opening week. And I don't think that's overstating it.
Well, ESPN chose it as their game to open up high school football. So I think that tells you everything you need to know.
Absolutely. It's Extra Point with Phil Jones. Got Mark Dykes. I want to thank Dr. Kevin Collins, the Houston Clinic, sponsoring the show, as well as our friends at Pepsi Cola. Big thanks to those guys. Also, we've got a very special announcement that we're going to make before we get out of here. And you guys do not want to miss this. Mark, am I exaggerating when I say it's a really big message that we're going to be passing along to our viewers?
Hey, big message. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, listen, we're going to tease it a little bit, but you guys got to stick around. We'll tell you what's going on. I'll give you a hint, okay? Give you a little bit of a hint. Friday nights are going to be a lot of fun with ITG Next this year. I don't think that's giving away the farm, Mark.
No, that's
we've always had fun on Friday night, right?
Hey, that's right. 100%.
All right. Kelly Mitchell says this is the Buford Milton game Thursday on one of the ESPN channels. It is. I think it's ESPN2 is going to be carrying the game. So I want to say hello to Austin A.B. Butler, who is always so complimentary of what we do here. Austin up there covering the Buford Wolves. I'm sorry, not Buford Wolves. It's the other Wolves, the Rome Wolves. So I got to love it. Thank you so much, Austin. Dietrich Andrews says, Phil and Mark, what do you think of the Thomasville versus Brooks County game? That's another one of the season openers, Mark. We'll talk about that one real quick if you'd like to. Mark, last year, these two teams opened up, and, Brooks County was my pick last year to win the state championship. They made it to the state title game. Unfortunately for them, they lost to Bowden. But I think Brooks County's got a great chance to go back this year, Mark. But Thomasville, they obviously are a top 5 rated program in our top 10 rankings this year. It's going to be a heck of a game, Mark. You want to talk about this one at all? Who do you think may have this one?
Well, again, what a way to start the season for fans of both those teams, which, by the way, they're both loaded with talent. Both have great players, very well coached. We know there's a rivalry there. I mean, they're just down the road from each other. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Where is that game being played? Is it at Brooks or at Thomasville? Or do we know?
I think it's at Brooks.
Is it at Brooks?
Somebody help me out with that. I believe that's right, guys. Let us know about that.
Well, we know over the years, Thomasville and Brooks have been in some fights. I mean, I couldn't pick that. Yeah, how do you pick it? I'd give the home team the edge, but those teams are loaded. Yep. I don't know that Thomasville's quarterback is underrated. He doesn't get what the recognition he deserves. We all know
Cam Hill.
Yeah, the kids that are highly recruited at Brooks County. Josh McFarland done a great job there stepping in for Maurice Freeman. Big shoes to fill there with Coach Freeman moving on. Great game. I'd give a little bit of an edge to the home team, but I think, again, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark, I'm a lot like you. You know, when you've got two teams that for all intents and purposes are pretty evenly matched, I kind of go with and defer to the home field advantage. And by the way, the game's going to be at Thomasville. So you got to like Thomasville. Mark, I know that you visited over there at their high school. They got new digs over there. There's a lot of excitement. Look, I know that the majority of the excitement has been with the school right down the road on Highway 84. It's good to see, though, there being a lot of attention being paid to both schools. They got a lot of great things going on. That's Thomasville and Thomas County Central.
That's a great town for high. In their field house. And there is a ton of history with that school, with that program. Highly encourage all the Thomasville fans to, when you go to the game, I believe they're going to open the museum up. And so make sure to go by there and check it out. Definitely.
I think
did we fall off again there, I think? Yeah,
we're back up. We apologize for that, guys.
Yeah, make sure to visit the museum inside of Thomasville's field house. Got a lot of great stuff in there. A lot of history involved with that program.
Absolutely. All right. So Mark and I are previewing some of the top season openers. We talked about Buford Milton. By the way, again, toss-up game, just like the Thomasville Brooks County game. The only thing I do there, again, is defer to the home field advantage. That's what I'm going to do with the Buford game. I'm going to go with Buford 21-20. Could go either way. Would not surprise me if Milton wins. Would surprise me if Buford wins. And I'm going with Buford by a point, 21-20.
Oh, Phil, you flipped on us now. Last week you were Milton. Now you can't be flipping like this. You got to stick with your pick.
Mark, they're gonna call me. They're gonna start naming me Flipper.
That's a flipper. That's exactly right. Now I felt like I give Buford a little bit of edge. Again, it's a home field. Forget the new stadium.
Yeah.
I just think in these big games, home field's worth a few points maybe. So I would go with the home field. But Phil has flipped around on us. All right, gonna hold your feet to the fire on that pick.
Mark is letting me have it, man. I absolutely love it. All right. So we talked about Benedictine Colquitt. I tell you, this is another tough one. I think Region 1-6A is going to be wide open this year. Danny Britt, though, not a 1-6A team, of course, but with Benedictine, but they are going to, I think, compete for a state championship in their classification. But they're coming to Colquitt County, which, Jeff Herron, one of the best coaches in the state of Georgia, has been everywhere, Mark. Jeff Herron said that he thought Colquitt County's hog pen was maybe the toughest home field advantage, or for opponents, the hardest road game, away place to play. So that tells you what Benedictine is going to be up against in this one. I tell you, I'm not sure if I would give the home field advantage. Got more talent. Now, I don't know. But Mark, your thoughts on this Benedictine Colquitt game? Well, it's going to be a great one.
Well, Phil, did I hear some hesitation as to who you're picking in your voice there? All right, look.
You did.
Here's
Flipper. Flipper's back.
Yeah, I can see that. So, it looks like we've had some Wi-Fi issues there. We're back. But, okay, Benedictine, no question, they have a good team. Boy, they've been very competitive here over the number of years. Of course, they've moved up in classification over the years here compared to say 5, 6, 7 years ago. I just think playing in the hog pen, that home field is going to be a big advantage for Colquitt. Also, Jay Lamar, I believe that's his name, the running back from Colquitt. Look, I'm an old school guy. Give me a good running game and a home field and some guys in the trenches. I'll take that all day long. And then you add on Sean Calhoun, just an outstanding coach. I mean, a good, just and a good person who does so much for the kids. I got to give Colquitt the edge in that one. Jay Lamar, the running game, Sean Calhoun. And in the hog pen, the fans are right on top of you. There's not a lot of room there between the fans and then the sidelines. They're right on you.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I'll tell you this, Mark, we go back to last year. Colquitt, wasn't necessarily everyone's pick to win the region. Everybody was really high on Camden County, Valdosta. Lowndes was expected to make a run at the region, which they did. I think they come in as the 2 seed, if I'm not mistaken. But the bottom line, Colquitt County, it's something about a program. Once you get established and you get that winning tradition, it's almost like it becomes part of you. It rubs off, even on the new players coming in, Mark. There's something about the walls of that locker room. There's something about, the ghost of players past that tend to rub off on the new players coming in. Once a team establishes a winning philosophy, a winning program, a winning history, a winning culture, that just tends to stick. And I think that's the case with Colquitt County, Mark, no matter who the new players are coming in.
Yeah, they've had it going for a while. And the other big thing is the community. That's a great community over in Moultrie. They really support that program and that school. So a lot of good things there. So I think Benedictine, it's a long drive too from where they're coming from. I think all those little things make a difference. But hey, good for them. What a tough road game for them to get them ready when they do get in their region play.
Absolutely. Jose Badilla is checking in. I want to give a big shout out to Jose. He is a big Thomas County Central fan, and I get a package at my door on Saturday, and lo and behold, what did I have but a couple of Thomas County Central polos, and I mean, they are nice. Jose, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, and I have been wearing those loud and proud, my friend, and I will continue to do that. You guys going to make a Thomas County Central fan out of me before long. All right, actually, I already am.
Yeah, I was
thank
going
you,
to say,
Jose.
yeah, hey, Thomas County Central, a lot of great things going on at that program. Look, it's just going to keep going. They're going to move into their new facility soon. I would have no problem wearing Thomas County Central shirt.
Oh, absolutely. Love Coach Rogers and what they've done there. I tell you, really, and the fans have pitched in. You were talking about Colquitt County fans. Well, there's some good fans over at Thomas County Central as well. So, again, hard to find anything at fault with either of those programs.
Well, speaking of those fans at Thomas County Central, I was talking to Coach Rogers and said, how about the community support? And he said, well, you have great support when the GHSA has to pass, makes a rule because they had to outlaw those noisemakers over at Thomas County Central. I mean, come on, think about that.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. And you don't think that affects visiting teams, Mark? And they even take that on the road too. Yeah,
no, it impacts them 100%. And another thing I'd like to say about Thomas County Central, their play-by-play guys over there, Randy Young, who's been there for a long time, they do an outstanding job. I mean, if you can't make it to a TCC game, listen to Randy, man, first class play-by-play guys at Thomas County Central.
All right, we are talking about some of the season openers. Obviously, we are taking some of the best games for my Phil's Pick Six, which we do each and every week during the football season. Of course, this will be the first Pick Six of the year. We talked about Buford and Milton's going to be right there at the top. Douglas County, North Gwinnett. These are a couple of teams, obviously, a couple of what I call blue bloods in the state's highest classification. Douglas County, maybe the two best wide receivers in the state, going against North Gwinnett. North Gwinnett, speaking of Colquitt County, North Gwinnett came down to Moultrie last year and shocked the pack 14-3. North Gwinnett lost a lot, though. They're taking on Douglas County. This is going to be another one of the big games in the Corky Kell at Mercedes-Benz. I like Douglas County in this one. I think Eric Godfrey and his North Gwinnett Bulldogs going to have a little bit of a rebuilding year this year. I'm not going to say that they're going to tank this year by any stretch, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle in this one. Douglas County over North Gwinnett, my pick, 34-14, with apologies to my buddy Eric Godfrey, head coach there at North Gwinnett, Mark.
Yeah, as you mentioned, North Gwinnett lost a good bit. I'm not so familiar with Douglas, but look, I know that, I mean, everywhere I read, they're loaded with athletes. I do see that. I guess by that alone, you may say, well, okay, they're going to have a little bit of an advantage in that game. But again, you never know what can happen. I couldn't give you an intelligent pick on that game. I'm just not as familiar with those programs. But I do know, I look at the player rankings, and Douglas County has got some talent. Or they do, if the rankings are correct.
They lose their quarterback, DJ Bordeaux, who went elected to go back to Colorado, where he's from, the Denver area. But they were fortunate in that they were able to get the young man, I think it's Michael Douglas, if I'm not mistaken, from over at Dutchtown. He's moving in, going to be the new quarterback there for Johnny White and Douglas County. So they're really not going to miss a beat there at quarterback. So they'll have a good guy to deliver the ball to those two talented wide receivers, including Aaron Gregory. All right, Mark, we talked about you guys being at the Buford game. You're also going to try to make it over to Collins Hill Grayson. That's the next night. That's going to be another big game. Drew Swick, man, I love the guy. He's a good friend of mine. He's a great coach. He's done great things there at Collins Hill. Going to be taking on the defending Class 6A champions, Mark, in Grayson. These two teams opened up, and that's going to be at Collins Hill. These two teams opened up last year, Mark, at Grayson. Collins Hill was down in this game 19-3. They battled back in the last quarter to win it and shock Grayson 20-19. Now, that would kickstart Collins Hill to a great season. I think 11-2, the final record. They wound up losing in the rematch to Grayson in the quarterfinals of the state playoffs. But here they are meeting again for the third time in just a little over a year. Mark, What do you think about Collins Hill, Grayson, the defending state champions, kicking off the defense of their Class 6A state championship?
That's first of all a battle of two heavyweights. I spent some time at Grayson a little over a month ago. There several times. I was also at Collins Hill a couple of weeks ago. A lot of talent on the field in that game. That is a big time game. It's a tough one, but I do think Grayson has so many guys coming back. High level talent, good kids. Santavius Bryant's done a great job there. I think it's going to be hard to beat Grayson, but I got to tell you, if there's a team that could do it, Collins Hill potentially could. They have great players as well. Grayson has, to me, a lot of them. I mean, if you look at their roster from top to bottom, it's a little scary, actually. I think if they can keep their head on straight, and also I'm an old school guy. Look, they won it last year. They're the champions until they get beat, in my opinion. But they're loaded, man. They got great linemen on both sides of the ball. Travis Burgess, great quarterback.
Yep.
We know about the linebacking core, man, led by Tyler Atkinson. But then again, you look over at Collins Hill with Deuce Geralds, who is a big-time player. They also have other good players.
Trail Webb on that defensive line with him, Mark.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game. Look, in my opinion, that's equally as good a game. I realize that Milton and Buford, because of the new stadium and everything else, that's what everyone's talking about. But look, I got to tell you, Collins Hill Grayson, that's a big time matchup. That could be who knows, it could be even a state championship matchup. I mean, both teams are that good, but I think Grayson may just have a little too much. I think Grayson may have a little too much for everybody this year.
We are talking about some of these great season openers, guys. I mean, think about the games we've already talked about, and we've just barely scratched the surface. Buford, Milton, Collins Hill, Grayson, Brooks County, Thomasville. Who are we missing, guys? We're talking about a few games, but let me know what y'all think the season opener that are games that you just don't want to miss. A couple of others we're going to be talking about here in just a second. Gainesville and Marietta. Boy, there's so many great storylines about that one, Mark. You got Marietta with their new head football coach, Cameron Duke coming up from Edgewater in Florida. You've got Gainesville. Man, you don't think Josh Niblett is out to right the wrongs of what happened last year? His by far worst season since he got to Gainesville in his 3 years. They go 7-4. Any other team that would be a big success, but not for Gainesville. They go 7-4, Mark, and they get upset in the first round of the state playoffs by Sequoia, a relative unknown. Marietta, though, 2-8 last year. They picked up a big win last week in a scrimmage game, albeit against Osborne. But it has rejuvenated everybody. Anytime a new coach takes over a fledgling program, Mark, there's always new hope. But any thoughts on this one? I know we've had some interaction with Cameron Duke. I know fans are excited about what he's got going on up there in Marietta. But again, this is Gainesville, and it's going to be at Gainesville, Mark.
Well, first of all, look, I think he's going to do a good job there coming from Edgewater. But, hey, welcome to high school football in Georgia. Welcome to going to a town where that community, again, they support that football team. Yeah. They will be ready to go. Trust me, Josh Niblett will have had every I dotted and every T crossed. I mean, look, how many state championships did he win when he was at Hoover? And he comes here. Let's face it, he's been playing for a state championship, about once every 3-4 years when you get down to it. And so he did play for it his first year there. Nobody thought he would be able to do that. I know he is loaded with talent in Gainesville, a lot of good players. I think that may be a tough go for Marietta having to travel to Gainesville because, let's face it, they don't want to lose the first game.
Boy, you're right. And again, for opponents of Gainesville, Mark, the worst thing that could happen to them is what happened to Gainesville last year. Again, having the down season that they did, the off year that it was. Again, we talked to Josh Niblett earlier this off season, and he told us basically that was the number one goal, was to right the wrongs of last year and to use that as a rallying cry for this year. So the first opponent that is going to have to get a look at that is going to be Marietta. And again, like you said, Mark, it's in Gainesville. I'd see Gainesville coming out with a lot of excitement. Kids are going to be fired up. They may try an onside kick or something like that, start the game, try to get the momentum. I think they're going to be using every little trick in the book that they can, Mark. But I think in the end, it's going to be Gainesville's overall talent that wins this one for the Red Elephants at the end of the night.
Well, for sure, they'll have to come out and leave it all on the field. They'll need to, try to throw some wrinkles at Gainesville, but I just think Gainesville has too much. Again, we visited Marietta, I guess it was back in the spring. And I think he'll do a good job there. But to a man, Gainesville's just got more talent this year. And there's some of those guys have been playing together. Their quarterback has some experience. He also is highly touted, which he's just a junior this year. Of course, they have Xavier Griffin, is that his name, on defense?
Yeah, right. Five-star linebacker.
Yeah, they'll be hard to contend with.
Yeah, quarterback Kareem Hughley, Mark, is committed to Clemson. And
Yes.
So great player offensively, great player defensively, and that's just two of the starting 22 that of the talented starters that are going to take the field for Gainesville. Mark, let's take a quick minute and look and see who all is in the house. We got a lot of folks watching the show tonight. We want to acknowledge Luke Bush, big Lowndes fan. Luke, what's up, my man? Juancimo Villalobos is checking out the show from up in Gainesville. What's up, brother? I know you like Gainesville a lot. We mentioned our buddy Stephen K. Wynn is checking out the show. What's up, Stephen? Diane Delk Heron, Clinch County Panther Nation, checking out the show. What's up, Diana? Glad that you're in here. Robert Tallert, my buddy Robert, Peach County, Trojan Pride. What's up? Chandler Howe. Chandler who? H-O-U-G-H. I think that's Howe. Fitzgerald versus Irwin this Friday. Yeah, we're going to talk about that one, Chandler. That's one of my pick six. By the way, Mark, Juancimo Villalobos likes Gainesville by 21 points. I'd say that's about right. Without a doubt.
I was going to say he's probably not far off, and
yep.
It could be worse than that.
Andrew Watkins, he's our buddy from over in Albany. He's a big Daugherty fan. Andrew, what happened last week in that scrimmage over at Thomasville? Oh, wait a minute. Was it a scrimmage or was it a brawl? Turned out to be a brawl over there at Thomasville. They had to stop the game. Players got into it. And anyway, Daugherty was ahead in that one. But Daugherty going to kick it off for real against Central Macon. That's going to be a good one. We mentioned Luke Nelson. Luke, Big Buford, says Grayson is the team to beat for sure. Nobody should doubt them. Yeah, you're right about that. All right. Kenneth Hurst is checking out the show. Big Colquitt County Packer fan. Alan Clanton. He is our guy. Alan loves the challenges, man. We love Alan. Alan, big Lanier County fan, says Grayson wins in a close one. So, Mark, it sounds like everybody hard to pick against the defending state champions, isn't it?
It is definitely hard to pick against the defending state champions, especially when they got all that talent coming back.
Mike Thompson's checking in from Fitzgerald. We're going to talk about your Fitzgerald game. That's another one. A lot of new faces, Mark. There's two new coaches over there for those neighbors, Fitzgerald and Irwin County. Kenneth Hurst says the Horns are going to take over Friday night, talking about Thomas County Central. How about that? You got to love it. All right. I mentioned Juancimo Villalobos says, what's going on, Phil and ITG Next crew checking in late today from Gainesville. Go Big Red. Guys, we love the fact that we got you guys checking in from all over the state. This is what we do. We try to cover everybody and represent everybody across the state. We like to let you guys represent yourself as well. I mentioned Robert Tallert, Peach County Trojan fan. Cole Morris checking out the show. Brooks Carter checking out the show today. Man, if I miss anybody, please come back to me. Donnie Jarvis, Colquitt County fan, checking out the show. If I miss anybody, please don't hold me. Don't hold me liable for it. Mitchell Dormany. What's up, Mitchell? Drew Dormany's sons checking out the show. Mitchell and I talk a good bit. Tell your dad we said hello, by the way. All right. let's move on. Mark, anything in particular before I've been running my mouth here? Anything in particular that you want to talk about?
Well, look, Obadiah switched over to be a Thomasville fan for a minute.
Whoa,
So
what?
Whoa, he said they were beating Darty.
Wait a minute. Well, you had me scared there now.
Yeah, no.
Oh, goodness.
No, he's just defending the Bulldogs there. They were not. Darty was not beating them, so got to make sure to throw that in.
I absolutely love it. Hey, I want to mention something, a little shameless plug here. Well, not really shameless, but we are honored to be a part of the statewide composite rankings that Georgia High School Football Daily and the AJC put out every week. And we've been asked to come back for the second straight year. So we're honored to have been invited back. You guys can check that out. Of course, we'll still put out our standalone rankings, but we'll also take and contribute our rankings to Georgia High School Football Daily, the newsletter that AJC puts out. Todd Holcomb, they do a great job, but it's going to be ourselves, Score Atlanta, 680 The Fan out of Atlanta, Max Preps, Maxwell Ratings, and ITG Next, all going to be combining our top 10 rankings. And from all of our rankings together will generate the top 10, a composite top 10. And that is pretty much the most widely recognized top 10 rankings throughout the state. So we're proud to be a part of that. All right. I talked earlier about Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald in Irwin County, Mark, one of the oldest rivalries. These two neighboring counties, Ocilla, Fitzgerald, Irwin County, Ben Hill County. But of course, we know them as the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes. Mark, a lot has changed since these two teams met last year when Irwin County beat Fitzgerald. I think that game was at Fitzgerald. I believe this is going to be in Ocilla at the reservation, as they call it. Mark, a lot has changed. Number one, the head coaches. Tucker Pruitt, no longer in Fitzgerald. He's at Appling County now. And at Irwin County, Casey Soliday, the longtime coach, has joined his brother, Eric Soliday, at Tift Area Academy. So he's gone from GHSA to GISA. Taking his place, Mark, is Larry Harold, a virtual unknown, although he's got quite a stellar reputation and resume. Larry Harold has coached at Central Gwinnett. He's actually coached college football at the University of Tennessee. But again, you want to talk about programs that have been that have lost a lot. They've been decimated by graduation, especially Irwin County. Irwin County has looked rather shaky in their first couple of scrimmages. Fitzgerald has looked pretty good, but I think Fitzgerald is going to be the overwhelming favorite. And I think Irwin County is going to be one of the biggest storylines of the year, Mark, to watch. They just lost so much. Listen, let me say this. I think anytime you see a longtime coach leave out of the blue, I think that is a telltale sign that the coach may think, hey, we may be having a little bit of a down year, maybe starting to go through a little bit of a dry period. That's my opinion. We've seen a couple of coaches do that, and sure enough, those programs did indeed experience a little bit of a dry spell. I think that might be the case at Irwin County. I'm not saying they're going to go winless, but I think they're going to be in for a little bit of a struggle this year. I like Fitzgerald by a lot. Wes Tankersley is the new head coach at Fitzgerald. He did a great job at Stevens County. I think they did a heck of a job finding, if there was one guy you wanted to replace Tucker Pruitt with, it would have been Wesley Tankersley. They went out, they got their guy. He's now the coach at Fitzgerald. Mark, your thoughts on Irwin County and Fitzgerald, and would love to hear the fans' thoughts as well.
Well, first of all, great rivalry game. Those two communities really support those teams. Here's the thing with the smaller classifications, of course, anywhere, but in South Georgia, that's what we're talking about right now.
Yep, right.
There's no question the talent, you can have swings in talent. Look, nobody's moving to Ocilla. It just is what it is. People aren't moving to Fitzgerald, right? I mean, So if you've had a lot of talent and then all of a sudden you are a little bit down, you're going to have to look. Then hopefully you develop some talent coming up. And look, sometimes you can't. The players just aren't there. So I want to say that first. There's no cause there other than, again, hey, we just don't have the players right now. I know that they have great people in both those communities. I know Irwin does. I know that they will be back. No question about it, because there's kids. Look, there's a love of football in South Georgia, so there's going to be good players coming up. Yeah, they're probably going to be down a little bit. It's a rivalry game. Fun night there to be at that game. Anything could happen, but clearly Fitzgerald's got a little bit more talent.
Yeah, and let me say this. Fitzgerald, they do bring back Victor Copeland, but they lost Antoine Doctor, which, by the way, is in my Names Anonymous Hall of Fame, Antoine Doctor. They lost several of those running backs. We covered Fitzgerald twice last year. We covered the Fitzgerald Brooks County game, then we covered the season-ending Fitzgerald Appling County game last year as part of our ITG Next Game of the Week, Mark. And in both of those games, Fitzgerald used 9 running backs the first time. I'll never forget this because I wrote it down. They used 12 running backs the second game against Appling. Now, this is what Fitzgerald does, and I don't think, after talking to Wesley Tankersley, that they're going to change a whole lot. Coach Tankersley did tell me you can expect more of a passing game from Fitzgerald. But listen.
Whoa.
Yeah, he did. So yep. Victor Copeland, by the way, who is their Mr. Everything, they're going to line him up at quarterback and actually use him as a true quarterback. Mark, if Fitzgerald, you don't always see like on the roster or whatever, it's a Victor Copeland quarterback. All that meant was that's the guy that's going to receive the football.
Well, there's no question at Fitzgerald. You got to love it. I mean, you're talking about a running game. I know I had 12 running backs.
Yes.
That's Tucker Pruitt. We'll just out-physical you.
Yep.
We're just going to run it at you. And
That's right.
You know what? If you can stop it, so be it. And then they'll always have a couple of times during the game where they're going to have a chance to throw 1 or 2 balls. I mean, the Worth County game, Fitzgerald-Worth County game last year was a great game, and they were just back and forth. But, I mean, Fitzgerald just, okay, we're running it right down your throat. Stop it.
That's right. That's exactly right. And, Fitzgerald, that game you're talking about, Worth County was in complete control. And, Mark, it really wasn't a deal where Fitzgerald started throwing the football. They just kept running it. We talked a little bit about that with Jeff Hammond this morning, reflecting on their final game of the 2024 season. So you fast forward a year later, it's a different coach, Wes Tankersley, but I think you're going to see more of the same. Mark, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, okay? Wes Tankersley knows what makes Fitzgerald tick, and I think he's going to continue to do what they've always done with more of a passing game.
Well, you certainly see it at the collegiate and professional level. I mean, they're spreading it out, throw it all around, but I do have to say the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, and they were running the ball a lot. I mean, Not only with their running back, Saquon Barkley, I mean, Jalen Hurts ran the ball some. That's a little that's Fitzgerald a little bit. I mean, when you can run the ball and you got guys in the trenches, you always have a chance.
Yeah, without a doubt. Look, it's old school football. You said it earlier, Mark. Line it up, run it, and stop me if you can. 3 yards and a cloud of dust. And you know what? Some people may knock that style, but you know what? It works, and it has worked for all of these teams. And that's going to be a game interesting to watch again. Irwin County, again, I think they're going to struggle this year, but we'll see. Going to be a great start to the season. Fitzgerald and Irwin County.
I was going to say, Phil, if we go back, some years ago, how many state championships did Lowndes and Camden win running the ball primarily? Both running those wing T offenses. I mean, I watched Lowndes games where I don't think they threw it one time. It's Randy McPherson. He, I just running that wing T. And again, I've said it before with Kari Franklin and Greg Reed and Dariet Perry and I forget the other back. Like it was just something to watch. You couldn't stop it. In Camden, they've had some teams like that as well, and that was a time when South Georgia would dominate the highest classification.
Yes.
And now, obviously, it's turned a little bit. But what was it? Just a few years ago, Jeff Herron made a run when he was back at Camden and was running the ball a lot in the state playoffs. So, look, you can certainly win running the ball. You can 100% win running the ball in high school if you have the personnel to do it. In fact, right. I think you're better off playing like that if that's the personnel you have, as opposed to trying to spread it out and throw it all the time if you don't have the people to do that.
Yeah, and Mark, I think that's kind of the great equalizer. That way, no matter who you have, who you lose, what kind of talent you lose, if you're able to run the football, and again, going back to Fitzgerald for just a second, and we'll move on. But I talked about that. We've heard running back by committee. Well, when you have 9 running backs, 12 running backs, that's the epitome of running back by committee. But I'm sure Tucker did that because, again, you lose some guys, you pick up some guys, but it doesn't matter. You're always going to be able to run the football. 2 or 3 guys may have the hot hand. The rest of the guys may not. But I think that's the key to being able to, run, as you said earlier, running the football. If you can't run the football, you're going to be in for a long night.
Well, and especially if out of that 12, if you got a couple of backs that those linebackers in the secondary doesn't want to tackle, the kind of back. What's the kid at Coffee year before last? Boy, he went
Fred
run
Brown.
out of bounds. He'd try to find somebody to hit. I've never seen anything like it. You get you a couple of running backs like that and a couple of shifty guys, you can win all day long with that.
Yeah, KJ DeBruce is going to be the Bruce-er, I think, for Coffee. Mike Coe is always going to have that feature back. Last year, who was the young man that set the Georgia State rushing record, single game record? He ran for 700 yards against Sequoia. Somebody help me. Yeah, can you believe that, Mark?
No, I can't. I don't know how you could do that.
Mark, he ran the equivalent of 7 football fields in one night.
That's hard to believe. It's that brings back a memory. I think this was probably about 5 years ago or 4 years ago, Phil? We went over and did a video with the young man in Florida in the Panhandle that only had one arm.
That's right. And we've dropped Mark. Let's see if we can get Mark back here. And there we go. Mark, pick it back up. Mm-hmm.
So we did the video with the kid that had one arm. Caleb Wagner's his name, and
that's
he's
right.
Playing in college now. He's playing in college. He broke Derrick Henry's single game rushing record. That kid ran for, I think, 538 yards in one game. I highly encourage everybody to go to our YouTube channel and search for Caleb Wagner. That's a great video about this young man that had one arm. He's a true inspiration. In fact, I think he's at Illinois State, I believe, but I know they put a video out on him last year. And, he's a great kid, playing football on that team and wants to graduate and be a coach and, help other kids.
Absolutely. Tayretta Marietta is checking out the show. Again, another member of our Names Anonymous Hall of Fame, Mark. Tayretta Marietta is.
Gotta love that one.
I do too. Jamie Fraley Seeger. She's Miss Camden County, and she is checking out the show from Camden County. Jamie, what's going on? Jamie and I, good friends. And Jamie, you're my buddy. I love you. Obadiah Farley says, question for the podcast. Name one team that might shock the state this year. I like that. Mark, you want to let that kind of incubate? You want to answer it now?
Yeah, I gotta marinate on that one just a second.
All right. Obadiah, we're going to come back to you on that one, but that's a good one. Name one team that might shock the state this year. I know I got my team. I'll let Mark come up with his, but
Phil, what's your team?
I think it's Tift County. I think Tift County is going to shock everybody this year. Jeff Littleton has done a wonderful job with that team. Let me point something out, Mark. I don't know how many people realize this. Do you guys know that in the 2 off-season scrimmage games that Tift County played this off-season, they were both against teams that played for a state championship last year? And Tift County won both of those games, and they won each of those games convincingly. Tift County defeated Brooks County last weekend in Quitman. Junior varsity and the varsity squads both won the game, won their part. And then Tift County had defeated Langston Hughes back in the spring scrimmage. Again, it was a pretty decided victory. Guys, I get it. It's a scrimmage game. It doesn't count. But I think that points to, hold on a second, Mark. I think that points to a lot of positives. So go ahead.
First of all, in these scrimmage games, remember, I can put on the red jersey. So, let's keep it real. It's kind of not legit football. I can put on the red jersey. The other thing is, let's be fair. You got a 6A school going against a single A school.
You're right.
You probably got 130 kids on one team, and you got 50 on the other.
You're right.
Or 60. I don't know.
Oh, look at the laughing emojis coming in. Yeah. People are loving it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it's all relative. Look, I can remember, and I can remember and this has been many years ago, when 7-on-7s were just getting to be real big.
Sure.
And both Randy McPherson and Marty Freeman told me, none of that matters till you get hit.
You're right.
What's the big deal about 7-on-7?
Sure.
I mean, let's find out what happens when you get hit. So,
good point. Very fair.
Look, to be fair, I'm a big Jeff Littleton fan. I do think Tift County will make strides this year. I think they will be better. You picking them to win the region, Phil?
No, I'm not going to go that far.
Okay.
Mark's going to have a field day with me on that one. No, I just think, that will shock the state. But I was asking, which team do you think will shock the state? I think Tift County, and again, say what you want to about the scrimmage games. I get it. Maybe or may not make a lot of big deal about that. But I just think Jeff Littleton is that kind of coach. Remember, nobody gave him a chance in 2018 when he led Bainbridge to a state championship, which included a big playoff win over Buford. At Buford.
All right.
He's just that kind of coach, Mark.
But here's the thing. That year that team had some serious talent.
Agreed.
Serious talent. I mean,
agreed.
Smoke Bowie was on that team, and I think, I don't know, somebody in the chat may know, but unfortunately, he went to Texas A&M and then he left and was at Georgia and got dismissed. And I think he went somewhere else. My hope is that wherever he is, he could get it figured out. And if he's not playing anymore, I hope he, gets life figured out. But as far as talent goes, that kid was unbelievably talented.
Where is Smoke Bowie at now, guys? I'd like to do a where is he now kind of thing.
I'm not sure if he's even playing.
Yeah. Michael Baxter. Good evening, Phil and Mark and everyone at ITG Next Georgia. Michael Baxter is a big Milton Eagles fan. He's checking the show out, Mark, from up in Milton. So wonder who he's pulling for Thursday.
Yeah, I think we know the answer to that. Again, look, I don't think it's going to be a surprise if either of those teams win. I mean, look, again, I go with the home team a little bit in that stadium, but no one would be surprised if Milton wins that ball game. That's not a shock.
Mike Thompson says Tift County will shock the state this year.
Okay, you and him, Phil.
I got one guy on my team, right?
There you go.
And you're right. Michael Baxter says, you're right. No surprise, Mark. My prediction is Milton wins. There we go.
Yeah.
Jerry Harrison is checking out the show. Hello, Phil and Mark, checking in from Monroe area. Not Monroe Tornadoes, but Monroe area. It's go time. Monroe area has really been on the upswing here lately. By the way, Mark, Stephen K. Wynn reminds us that Juju McDowell was also on that Bainbridge team. How about that?
Yeah.
Before we went to Lee County.
Yeah, that team was loaded.
Daniel James reminds us that 2018 semifinal game versus Bainbridge still hurts. Daniel, which team was yours, my friend? Everett Pearson says go Camden. So again, got a lot of people checking out the show. Guys, continue those comments. Let us hear from you. Love to hear from you. Mark, let's stay on Region 16A. You know, I want to ask your thoughts about Valdosta and Lowndes. And it has nothing to do with the fact that we're located in Valdosta. Because, guys, as you can see, we have viewers. We cover the entire state of Georgia, okay? But the reason I want to ask about Valdosta and Lowndes, okay, we did our preseason 6A poll. Well, we had all of our preseason state preseason polls a while back, okay? And in the 6A poll, I had Valdosta and Lowndes picked in the top 10. Well, I noticed that Todd Holcomb with the AJC, their Class 6A preseason poll, which they just released yesterday, also had Valdosta and Lowndes in the top 10, which I was glad to see. I wanted to make sure I wasn't out there on an island by myself, right?
Yeah.
But, I think that was a little bit surprising. I surprised myself a little bit. But I think both those teams have got a chance to make some noise this year. And, of course, they happen to be in the same region. Mark, what are your thoughts? And I want to get the thoughts of our viewers out there about Valdosta and Lowndes.
Well, to me, the Valdosta, the heartbeat of football in South Georgia, and to be honest with you, you could make a case for the state. Valdosta and Thomasville, I don't think there's any better places as far as high school football.
Right.
First, I got to say, look, I think both teams has talent. Lowndes has a playmaker at quarterback who can do a lot. And if you have a quarterback like that, he can keep you in games and in fact, can win some games. Let's face it. I know they've got some linemen that have received offers, so they've got to have some guys in the trenches. Again, the Concrete Palace, another one of those places, man, that's a great home field. And the Georgia Bridgman, all those, over 400 people in the band, great home field. If Lowndes could pick it up and get it going 100%, they could make some noise. And the same thing for Valdosta. A lot of great things going on there. They just broke ground on their new indoor. I know they have talent. Shelton Felton's done a great job there. Look, it's South Georgia football. Those kids are physical. They want to win. So that doesn't surprise me that both those teams are in the top 10. Doesn't surprise me a bit.
I got you. Look, Valdosta, I think they have got the talent to really go further than where they have ended their season. Last year, they got beat by Carrollton. I thought with Todd Robinson at quarterback, I thought they really had a chance to go pretty far. They didn't. I think this programs in Class 6A.
Yeah, he's turned the corner. I think that program has settled down now. He's in a good place. I think the support's coming back to that program. Look, let's face it, there was a lot of chaos that he walked into, with what happened with the rush there and everything. And then the year prior to that with Coach Rodemaker not being there, being asked to leave. So there was a lot of things going on in that program that had nothing to do with him and certainly had nothing to do with the kids there.
Sure.
And to me, that's one of the better jobs, I think, of coaching that I've seen in high school in a long time, given what he had to deal with. Look, and we know that, because we know that community very well in Valdosta, and we knew the things that were going on.
Yeah.
And again, I always say, look, Valdosta needs to be good. They're the winningest high school football program in the country. I hope they keep that, and I hope they keep winning. We need them to be in the mix. It makes clearly everything better for teams in South Georgia, but the state of Georgia. I want them to hold on to that. Of course, Maslin would have something to say about that, and the other team in Kentucky, I think, that's right there on them.
High School, MALE.
Yeah, a couple. I think but I hope Valdosta can do well. Look, I would love to see Valdosta go all the way, quite frankly.
Yeah, and then we turn our attention to Lowndes. Talking about a team that was decimated by graduation. Adam Carter pretty much admitted as much. He said, look, 2025 could be a challenge for the Lowndes High Vikings. They lost, I believe it was 19 of 22 starters. A good portion of those were from the defensive side. Having said that, though, Mark, they've got one of the best young, exciting quarterbacks in the state of Georgia. Juice, as we like to call him, Jace Juice Johnson. I like him a lot, and I think he is going to be the guy to lead that offense. I just wonder, and they got a good offensive line. You just wonder if the defense is going to be able to stand up and do their part this year. They were the unit hurt the most by graduation.
Well, look, when you look at Lowndes, I mean, everybody in South Georgia knows this, but they had 3 middle schools feeding that high school. And there always seems to be talent coming up through those programs. I mean, look, if I could tell you every time when Coach McPherson was there, and I'd watch a game and I'd see this kid have an incredible night, and I'd say, well, where did he come from? He came up through the program, and that's the way those teams were built. I do think, again, it takes time for. Adam Carter's got to get his systems in place. He's got to get the middle school on the same page with him. And I think he's doing that now. And there's going to be good players come up through those middle schools at Lowndes. They always seem to have players, coming up through and developed in those programs.
Yeah, certainly do agree with that. I think the region overall is going to be up for grabs, like it was last year. By the way, I've got some games, and this will probably be coming out as part of our newsletter, maybe this week or next, but there's some key games that I've got circled. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's what I'm calling make or break games, Mark. Okay. And it's going to be some games that may not necessarily make or break the team for the season, but it could make or break a team as far as their home playoff chances go, or making, giving them the opportunity to extend. I'll give you an example. Last year, Colquitt County, they lose on the road to Valdosta. I believe it was 7-3. But then
Looks like we have lost signal again here. Phil, are you there? Phil, are you still there?
Mark, go ahead and keep talking, until we get him back.
Yeah, I was going to say, all right.
I think that's on Phil's end.
Yeah, looks like we lost Phil there. Not sure what's going on. We've got somebody working on that. I'm looking at the chat here. We got somebody, Deshaun Suggs from Columbus, Carver Columbus, on the hill for life. I got to tell you, Deshaun, I agree with you totally. I believe Carver Columbus repeats as state champion. I don't know. I believe to a man, Carver could compete with any team, any classification. I think depth would come into play if they went up against a Grayson or some of these 5, 6A teams. But to a man, Carver could compete with anyone in the state. They looked really good last year in that state championship win. I look for them to come back and repeat as state champion. Still trying to get Phil in here. Not sure what happened to him. Don't know if that's on our producer's Wi-Fi or on Phil's Wi-Fi, because I hate to make the announcement without Phil in here. So we got to see if we can get Phil in here, because really it's his announcement. So doesn't look like we are able to get him back in.
He's almost back in. I'm talking to him right now. Yep.
Okay. All right. So, all right, guys. Oh, there he goes. Phil, we lost you, buddy. What happened?
Man, it just dropped. Everything went black on me. But anyway, you guys got me back.
All right. So I was just talking about Carver Columbus.
Okay.
Had someone checking in from over there. Carver Columbus is going to repeat unless an earthquake or something happens in Georgia. I mean, I had a chance to go over there and see those guys, man, and they're some really good looking athletes. But listen, I also want to say something about Carver Columbus and Jarvis Jones back over there at the head of that team now.
Right.
Some incredible kids over there, very smart kids. Had an opportunity to meet those guys and just really good people. They're loaded with talent. So highly encourage you, if you get a chance to watch Carver Columbus, do so.
Yeah, listen, back earlier, I did wrote the story about 2025 being the year of the repeat. And right at the very top, I had Carver Columbus. Look, I caught a little bit of flack this past week. Lee County and Carver Columbus, boy, you want to talk about a tune-up. I mean, you're talking about two big-time heavyweights. By the way, Carver Columbus, I'm a firm believer. I don't care what the number is in front of Carver Columbus. I don't care if it's 1, 2, 4. I think Carver Columbus can stand with anybody in the state of Georgia. I firmly believe that. I think they are that talented from top to bottom. Having said that, they went to Lee County this past weekend and played Lee County in a scrimmage game. Lee County looked good. The defense really looked good. I think Carver just still trying to find their way. I know that they have got a young quarterback, a new quarterback. I think he's the transfer that came over from where was it, Mark? What school is it?
I'm not sure.
Drew? Is it Drew? No, Shaw.
It may be
Shaw.
Shaw.
Yeah.
Maybe Shaw. Yeah.
Anyway, I think they're just trying to find their way with him, but I think in the end, Carver is going to be just fine. But I don't care what number they have in front of their name. I think they are one of the top teams in the state of Georgia.
Well, first of all, if I was a betting person, if they have that bet, like who's going to win the Super Bowl, and you can bet it early.
Yeah.
If they had that kind of bet, just go bet the farm on Carver Columbus to win a state championship.
So you're all in.
All in. I would push all my chips into the middle of the table. Again, I've just had a chance to see these guys, and right now, the time is just right for them. They have some very talented players. And look, with Jarvis Jones there, I think he's going to do a great job there. I mean, he won a state championship there. Look, we all know his background. Great collegiate career, great professional career. They're just going to keep on rolling over there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, we talked about, by the way, my buddy Deshaun Suggs. What's up, Deshaun? Great Carver fan. Says it's Hardaway where the young man came from.
Hardaway. Okay.
Yeah. But we were talking about
he walked into a good situation. Let me say that.
Yeah, didn't
he walked into a good situation. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I want to see if my buddy Oscar Miles is checking out the show. His son is KJ, who is, I think, the North Carolina commit. Him and Travis Burgess are going to get together at North Carolina after their high school playing days are over. But anyway, all right, I want to talk about Lee County real quick. So we talked about Carver Columbus, Mark. Lee County, I think, and again, I got everybody in that roar. I said, I think Lee County may be better than they were last year. And everybody went, whoa, what are you talking about? Back it up, Phil. Okay, I'll back it up just a little bit. Maybe offensively, they still got a ways to go. But I think defensively, look, Lee County's probably got the best defensive secondary in the state. They've got 4 linebackers that may be collectively the best in the state. And the defensive line, led by the Atkins kid, and again, everybody's a kid to me. I think they are going to be absolute studly on defense. Offense, you don't have Usmani back. I get that. But to hear Dean Fabrizio tell it, he's got his problem right now is find out how to get enough touches for those running backs that you've got. You got the Williams kid who ran for almost 800 yards, Mark, in the shadow of Usmani last year. That's probably the quietest 800-yard rushing season that anybody's had.
Well, first of all, let's keep it real. You're going to have about 4 or 5 running backs to replace Usmani.
Agree.
That guy was unbelievable and such a
He still is.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Hey, look for him to have an impact at FSU early.
Yep.
Look, they may be better on defense. There's no way you're going to tell me that they're better on offense. I can't believe. Now, Coach Fabrizio, man, there's always some good players there. You know, his teams are always so competitive. I mean, year in, year out, they're always in the hunt. But I agree. Look, the defense was really good last year. And they were young, some of those key players you're talking about. So they've gotten better. I can see that. And of course, you know, what's the old saying? Hey, if you can keep the other team from scoring, you got a chance, right? So you know, but being better, man, I don't know about that one. I think they had an unbelievable team last year. They just, unfortunately, I think had the team that could win it, except Milton had a generational team.
Well, very well put. Generational team. I think that's a perfect description, Mark.
Yeah.
And listen, you know, and speaking of Milton, almost based on what you just said, there's really nowhere to go but down. And I'm not taking a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
You follow me, Mark?
Yeah, well, I can tell you this: there's no way Milton will be as good as they were last year because
that's what I mean.
I think that's one of the best teams ever in the entire history of the state of Georgia. I mean, that just doesn't happen.
Agree, Mark. This Buford Milton game, where does it rank in terms of big time games in the state of Georgia? And I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about, let's take the last decade. And I don't think that's overstating it or exaggerating it at all. You throw in the stadium, you throw in the anticipation, the success these programs have had. No more Luke Nickel, big question mark around Milton. Can Buford finally step up and win a state championship? I mean, you got all these storylines, which leads to the anticipation and expectation of this game. What say you, Mark?
Look, I think it's a huge game, no question. Again, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, me personally, I mean, I think there just been other games that, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure Milton or Buford are both ranked nationally. I'm sure.
Sure, of course.
You know, they got to be ranked nationally.
Right.
I got to tell you, the maybe one of the best games I've ever seen was Lowndes and Northside Warner Robins at Lowndes. Multiple NFL players on the field. You couldn't fit another person anywhere in that stadium.
When was that?
Conrad Nix was coaching during that time. It was unbelievable atmosphere and game. There was nothing like it. You know, also I gotta say just some of these games in South Georgia for me, just because of the way the communities come out and support the team. Now Buford and Milton, they'll come out and support it, but I think there's just a little bit different passion in South Georgia for high school football.
You know, I get, and I don't disagree with you. Do you think right now, and let's just say let's take South Georgia's best 5 teams, and let's take North Georgia's best 5 teams head to head, winner take all. How do you think that would come out?
You know, I mean, if I'm being honest, I think North Georgia is going to get the edge on that. Where do you put Carver Columbus? Are they in north or south?
They're south. I put them in south.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I think, but I mean, again, I think when you look at Grayson, when you look at Buford, Collins Hill, when you look at Gainesville, when you look at Milton. Now that being said, you know, Thomas County Central,
yeah,
they can play with anybody. It'd be close. I just don't. I think in all the other classifications, I just think it'd be tougher for our 6A teams right now. Granted, I think any of them can make a run. I think it's going to be difficult to beat Grayson this year. I mean, I just really do. They got everybody back, and Collins Hill's good, and Buford's good, and Douglas County's good. I mean, you know, right now there's just some really good talent there.
Let me give you my opinion, and we're going to start to wrap it up. And we've got a big announcement, and I appreciate you guys waiting around for that. Here's my take on things, Mark. When you talk about North Georgia, South Georgia, I think North Georgia is very top heavy, and that's where they have the advantage. And by all means, step in here and give me your thoughts. And feel free to give me some pushback. I think North Georgia is top heavy. I think overall, when you talk about collectively, South Georgia may have the advantage there. That's kind of how I view the difference, and obviously if you're top heavy, that means, all you got to do is have one team to win the state championship. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if you're talking about, like you said, who's going to win a state championship, I think North's going to be favored, and clearly 6A. Now, 5A is, a different game. I mean, South Georgia teams have a chance there.
Right. Right.
Up north, clearly it's going to be Milton and Gainesville. Who else am I forgetting up there? Milton, Gainesville.
Buford.
Team. Well, Buford's in 6A.
Right. I'm just talking about overall.
Yeah.
The overall strength.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Overall. Yeah. I think the North would edge it by a little bit. However, for atmosphere, South Georgia is always going to win that battle.
I got you. All right, guys. So we've come to 7 o'clock, technically the end of the show, but I told you guys, and we've been teasing this, I mentioned earlier, Friday nights has always been a big part of what we do here at ITG Next. And Friday nights are going to continue to be a big part of what ITG Next does as far as covering high school football. You guys that have kept up with us know that yours truly, and Mark too, we have driven all over the state of Georgia to bring you guys the best in high school football. Mark, we've done these games of the week on Friday nights where we've gone to Buford, Collins Hill, Gainesville, Savannah, you name it. Many stops at Buc-ee's along the way. And Mark, you've also made those long trips. However, beginning this Friday night, we, instead of going to places all over the state, we're actually going to invite all over the state, everyone around the state, to us, as we are going to have our first ever Extra Point Friday night show. It will start at 10 o'clock, and we will invite you guys to call in, follow us, just like you are on Monday nights, except the Friday night show is going to have a twist. We're going to be scoreboard watching, and we are going to be talking about the games that are just wrapping up. We want to know what games you guys are on the way home from. We're going to be giving you updated scores as they come available to us, and we hope that you guys will like it. We're excited about it. Mark, want to get your thoughts on what changes are in store for us here at ITG Next on Friday nights. I like it.
Yeah, well, that'll be a lot of fun. Some Friday nights I'm going to try to sit in with you, or somebody will be in there with you. I'm going to be on the road this Friday. I will be up at the Buford Milton game on Thursday, and then Friday I'm going to be at Grayson Collins Hill. I move around a lot on Friday. That's probably not going to change, but I think it's going to be really good, Phil, to have you. I think we'll get some interesting commentary Friday night as it gets later in the evening, and we're seeing, some of these big games come to a close. So should be a lot of fun.
What do you guys think? We'll give you a couple of minutes to offer your comments as we wrap it up. But Michael Baxter can't wait for Friday. David Wood said he's going to be listening in. We hope everybody will check in again. Whether you're watching the show, remember, you guys can bring us up on your cell phone if you happen to be a passenger in a vehicle. Of course, we don't want you doing that while you're driving. If you are driving, put your phone down. You can still listen to us, okay? But we'd love for you guys to be a part of our, right now we're just calling it the Extra Point Friday Night Edition. Extra Point with Phil Jones, the Friday Night Edition. Again, we'll start at 10 o'clock, and that is a strategic move, a strategic time where we are coming on, Mark, and that's as most of the games are going to be ending.
That is right. Yeah, they'll start to wind up, and as I mentioned, I'm sure it'll be fun and colorful on Friday night. A little bit different vibe going on.
Ronnie Sauls, that'll be great. Phil, can't wait to share the results of the games. And guys, listen, we do want you guys to be our eyes and ears. You know, we'll have these different sources that offer us scores, but hey, nobody gives it to us like you guys do. Phil, I'm coming home from X and X game, and here's what happened. That's not just the scores, but the level of detail that we want from you guys. And believe me, you guys think that I watch the comments and your messages that are incoming now. It's going to be tenfold on Fridays after the games. Coaches are invited. I know we got Drew Swick who's checking in right now. Drew, what's going on, brother? Sorry that I can't be there Friday. Mark Dykes is going to be there Friday night representing us. So we'd love to hear from you and a lot of the other coaches and fans. So far, overwhelming positive feedback we're getting about our announcement. Obadiah Farley said, y'all will still do the Game of the Week live stream. No, we're not going to be doing that. We will not be doing a Friday night Game of the Week anymore. Instead, our Friday nights are going to be devoted to scoreboard watching and talking with you guys after the game. It'll be just the same thing that we do on Mondays with Extra Point, except it's going to be the Friday night version, and it's going to involve a lot of talking about the games that just wrapped up. Mark, as we close, you want to add anything?
Hey, just looking forward to the games this week, and hey, I'll catch up with you guys on Monday.
All right, Mark Dykes, CEO of ITG Next. Thanks so much for joining me, Mark, and we look forward to talking Monday. Man, we're going to have a lot to talk about on Monday, but Friday night, don't forget, guys, Friday night, 10 o'clock. We start this Friday. I want to see everybody back here in the house talking to me about where you're coming from, what games you're coming from, or maybe you just been at the house listening to a game. Nevertheless, I want to hear from you. So let's make it happen. Friday night, 10 o'clock, Extra Point. We'll go to around midnight-ish. We'll play that by ear and see how it goes. Big thanks to Dr. Kevin Collins, to the Houston Clinic. Big thanks to Pepsi Cola, our sponsors. And big thanks to all you guys for making our show a success and making our company a success. We'll talk to you.